Venezuela crisis, there's simply no water.
Días sin agua, fines de semana sin agua, días de la semana sin agua, sin aviso, sin previo aviso. No porque se reventó una bomba, no porque hay un arreglo de tubería, no, o sea, no hay agua, no hay agua. Realmente uno al día a día no te das cuenta de lo que has ido perdiendo, no te das cuenta. Ha sido tan paso a paso que uno va como tapando y no te das cuenta. O sea, cuando te paras afuera y dices, ya va, perdí esto, y te das cuenta, ahí es que, Dios mío, he dejado de hacer miles y miles de cosas, he ido en caída y no me he dado cuenta. Pero yo sí creo que uno tiene que hacer las cosas bien. Yo sí creo que hay una esperanza. Yo sí creo que la gente está obstinada. Yo sí creo que si estamos juntos y nos apoyamos todos, es como lo del agua ahorita, que la vecina tenía el carro, nosotros hicimos la cola y la otra no podía y nosotros cargamos. Y yo sé que mañana o otro día, si nosotros no podemos, ella nos va a conseguir agua. Yo estoy segura de eso. Entonces, yo pienso que que la gente tiene que terminar de entender eso, es que sí podemos hacer las cosas.
The situation in Venezuela is still deteriorating. They've got horrible conditions there. It's a really messed up situation. We covered it a lot, I believe, last week or the week before that. We talked a little bit more about how Venezuela, had not diversified its economy, had been living under ruled by socialists, but also socialists that mismanaged the country, but also United States has hit Venezuela with tons of sanctions and Citibank, prevents them from taking loans and all this fun stuff. So who knows how that will get resolved? I think at this point, from what I gather, a lot of people in Venezuela want to get Maduro out, but also are skeptical of Guaido. I mean, Guaido is clearly a United States puppet, so they are right to not trust his intentions. And I really don't see anything happening in Venezuela until Maduro is taken from power, because he doesn't have the ability to maintain order and throughout all this stuff. Eventually the military is gonna probably take over. They might take power from him, or maybe there's some kind of U.S. coup and they work with the United States to install Guaido or some similar person. Yeah, wow, this is really nasty. Desperate Venezuelans swarm sewage drains in search of water. No, I don't want to. Don't you just hate this? All these sites, they pop up a video, even with ad blocker. I don't like those pop-up videos. Let's see. Okay, desperate Venezuelans swarm sewage drains in search of water. Sewage, poop and stuff. Poops and peeps, all that. Venezuela's 5-day power blackout left homes without water. Lilybeth Tejedor found herself looking for it on Monday in the last place she would have imagined, a drain pipe feeding into a river carrying sewage through the capital, Caracas. Tejedor, 28, joined dozens of people who had flocked to the Guare River, which snakes along the bottom of a sharp ravine alongside Caracas's main highway, to fill up a 4-gallon plastic container. Unlike the fetid liquid flowing through the Guare River, the water emerging from the pipe was at least clear. Those who gathered to collect it said the water had been released by local authorities from reservoirs. They added, however, it was being carried through unsanitary pipes and should only be used to flush toilets or scrub floors. I've never even seen this before. It's horrible, horrible, said Tejedor, preparing to carry the container on a small handcart back to her home in the neighborhood of San Agustin. Tejedor, who works at a computer technology store, has a 2-year-old daughter and takes care of 2 nieces. The ones that are most affected are the children, because how do you tell a child that there's no water? The lack of water has become one of the most excruciating side effects of the nationwide blackout that the government of President Nicolas Maduro has blamed on U.S.-backed sabotage, but his critics call the product of corruption. But the critics call this a product of corruption and incompetence. The blackout has worsened the situation of a country already facing a hyperinflationary economic collapse that has spurred a mass migration and turned once basic items like corn flour and toilet paper into unaffordable luxuries for most people. After 5 days without electricity to pump water, Venezuelans from working class neighborhoods to upscale apartment towers are complaining of increasingly infrequent showers, unwashed dishes, and stinking toilets. Oh gosh. And this is the same is this the drain, or is this looks similar to from the video when they were getting the runoff water. So is this the same thing? Damn, it was coming from a sewage drain? Caracas needs 20,000 liters of water per second from nearby watersheds to maintain service. Many worry about the spread of disease. Yes, the lack of water compounds the inability to buy soap due to soaring prices or chronic shortages. Oh my gosh. So it's just like, imagine not being able to just wash your hands when you need to, you know? You gotta like ration the water. And like this could easily happen if there was a blackout in New York City. If there were blackouts all over America, which could easily happen because the electrical grid is very vulnerable. It's one of our top existential threats. Which reminds me, I should do that video. I forgot all about that. And a lot of people are not really that aware about it, that an EMP explosion, and an EMP is basically when they detonate a nuclear warhead above the ground, like in the air, and that like in the ionosphere or something like that. I'm not sure how it works exactly. Maybe we'll look at that further another time. But it shuts down all electrical components. So even your car, even things on battery, whatever, you know, your lights in your house, everything gets shut down. And just imagine how difficult it would be to survive, especially at night in the dark, in the complete dark. Imagine you're in the middle of Brooklyn in complete darkness. Man, the gangs and the mafia would eat this place alive, and all kinds of other people, desperate people. So, you know, this really should be a lesson to all developed countries that, you know, when you've got these cities and stuff where you're cramming a bunch of people into a small area, that there needs to be some idea of, you know, a backup plan, some way for the city to sustain itself if that ever did happen.